There is something phony about this war. A quote by a Union senator called William Bury in 1939. And then there's another one by Royal Canadian Army Corps motto. Welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. I've been planning to do a playthrough of this game for a long time now, but I figure it's about time to actually jump into doing an actual playthrough for it. It's a Paradox Grand strategy game in the same vein of, like, say, Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings 2, but this one's more focused on like conquest, I guess we'll say, and specifically it's conquest during like the time of World War II. We're sort of going to jump into this, so we'll play single player here, and we'll start a new game. We're going to jump into 1936 here, so Gathering Storm, a brief history. Dark times are coming. In Europe, Hitler has consolidated his power, and his attention is now increasingly drawn beyond Germany's borders. Mussolini's Italy continues to embark on daring military adventures, while the Empire of Japan stands poised to attack China in Asia. Almost 20 years have passed since the end of the Great War, and the world has yet again been doused in gasoline. A single spark may be all it takes. So I'm just going to select a scenario, and I'll note that in this game you can basically play, like, you know, many of the major powers from the time of, like, you know, World War II. So you got like France, United States, United Kingdom, German Reich, Italy, Japan, Soviet Union. You also play as many minor powers such as, like, say, Poland, Canada, Australia, and so forth. But we're not going to play with any of these guys. We're going to play with, you know, an insignificant nation that, you know, no one really cares about. We're going to play as Honduras, who's right here. Honduras is a small democratic nation that, you know, didn't really do much during the time of World War II, but we're going to make it do something this time around. I'll note we're going to be playing regular difficulty because I don't think I'm up to snuff to, like, basically play with, like, elite or veteran. We'll leave our mode on because, well, why not? And historical AI focus will also be turned on because I like my, like, you know, United States being, say, democratic and Germany being fascist and not changing them, for example, because they can do that. Let's just start the game here. Because we're playing Iron, I have to make an armament save, so let's do that right now. Save and play. And let's just jump into it. Ding! Goes the starting bell for this new game. Alright, so welcome to World War II, so to speak, or the time just before. We're basically in 1936 here. The power keg over here is basically starting to bust off with basically, like, you know, the Rhineland over here being demilitarized for, like, you know, the Germans. Troops may not enter here just yet, but that's about to be ignored by Germany. We'll see that in a little bit. But before we get to that, let's actually start setting up Honduras over here. So, I'll note that basically in this game you got, like, research, construction for, like, factories and stuff like that, national focuses, troops and everything else to manage. There's a lot to go over in this game. But I'm not really going to tutorialize this for the most part. So if you're looking for, like, a tutorial, you'll basically learn maybe a few things about what to do, but for the most part, you should probably go elsewhere for that. Basically, I'm going to try to make this like a mesh where new players can sort of understand what is basically going on, but it's still, like, palatable to, like, you know, more experienced players basically to watch this as well. First things first, let's go through alerts up here. Basically got research slot. I'm just going to go over standard stuff here. We're going to go with electronic mechanical engineering, basically increase their research time or decreases it by 2%. And we're going to go over here and we'll get construction 1 over here. For construction, we're just going to put a simple civilian factory right here in Honduras. And for our national focus, we're going to immediately go after political efforts and get some political power. We'll make this guy, you know, into an army over here. We'll assign a guy to it. We got a general called Benito Rosales. He's apparently got reckless, so there's that little, you know, fun trait to have. He's going to get wounded more often, but whatever. We'll make him lead this army here. And immediately, let's start getting some, like, you know, more troops for this guy. Let's maybe give him a couple more divisions. That'll take all my manpower to do, but it's fine. We can live with that. Let's go. Well, you know what? We're actually sort of fine with it, with what it is right now. Let's just get this underway. Let's increase our gain speed by pressing the plus and minus keys on the numpad thing over here, or like by pressing the decrease speed and increase speed up here, and we'll press spacebar and basically get this underway. Now, at the start of this game, it's not going to be really too busy right away because we're basically starting from scratch for the most part. But I'll note that the general gist of what I want to basically do for this gameplay, we basically want to basically reform the United States to Central America down here. That's basically an old country that you can basically form with the Wiki Tiger expansion. And we basically have to conquer Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica to do it. And beyond that, I also want to basically conquer some other nations, maybe like form a faction with Peru and Venezuela at some point. Maybe I'll conquer Mexico. We're basically just going to just try and get by for the most part, basically showing off what this game's all about. But for now, we're just going to just wait for stuff to get built and trained and everything else. Once this political effort gets completed, I'm going to basically get the fascist demagogue so I can basically start turning myself into a fascist state. Then we can start conquering people. And yes, all states will basically happen every so often because we're in Iron Man mode. All states will happen basically every few days. Oh, there's the remilitarization of Rhineland. So, Germany has stationed troops in the Rhineland territory close to the French border, in clear violation of the Treaty of Versailles. The local population cheered the German soldiers on, while the diplomatic reactions from France and Britain have so far been muted. It is no more than Germans walking in their own backyard, a political commentator in Britain observed. Worrying. Alright, let's get ourselves a fascist demagogue. And for our next national focus, we'll start making our way down to extra research slot over here. So we can basically get more research done in the couple I'm doing right now. So yes, over here, Germany's basically, remilitarized over here. So we basically have guys in Rhineland over here, in Musselland, as well as Württemberg. France better watch it. Of course, we'll get invaded and destroyed right away, but whatever. That'll happen when it happens. And the Spanish Civil War kicks off. So, a civil war has erupted in Spain. Several generals seeking to overthrow the current government in Madrid have issued a pronunciamiento, and a large portion of the Spanish armed forces have answered their call to arms. This right-wing nationalist faction has occupied much of Spain, including the overseas territories. Loyalist forces, volunteers have assembled under the left-wing Republican government, determined to resist the push to their last breath. The battle for Spain has begun. What will this mean for Spain? So this is basically a preordained event that's going to happen in this game. Basically, you'll have nationalist Spain pop out of Spain, and for those who don't know, nationalist Spain are basically fascist, while they're basically led by Francisco Franco, who basically won the war and the real historical events. And basically, it's going to be fighting against this guy here called Juarez Diaz. Now, note by the way, in this game, basically, these guys are represented by fascists, while these guys are represented by communists. In reality, in the actual grand scheme of things, these guys were actually a combination of democratic forces and communist forces and other forces. Basically, this is a coalition of guys basically trying to stand up against the fascists over here. But ultimately, the fascists won. We'll see if that happens though. Sometimes you'll especially see the fascists lose. Sometimes you'll see the Republicans lose. They can go either way, really. Lots of battles are going to kick up over here, so they'll be fun to watch. See what's going to happen. A lot of changing land. Usually what happens right away is they'll lose Zaragoza, the nationalists, while the Republicans will basically lose up here, just segment of land over there. Wow, these guys are losing bad over here, the nationalists. They lost Zaragoza right away. We're just going to get ourselves mechanical computing so we get more research time reduction. The fight begins. Alright, we got ourselves one troop popped out over here, which is awesome. We're building up infantry equipment for another one now. Just give you guys that second battalion for now, it's fine. Now, it looks like right now the Nationalists are probably losing because, like, you know, they're just not doing that well, but it's possible they can kick back. We'll basically see. Looks like they're going to win over here, which is nice for them. Killing off these last few pockets. And this is generally what you can expect. Basically have, like, you know, this nice little, like, you know, line here for their forces and such. Get that. Now, by the way, I'll note by the way you can, like, pause whenever you want to in this game. It's basically like, you know, it's basically like the Art Grand Strategy games where you can pause wherever you want to basically do stuff and unpause basically to keep going. In multiplayer, and there is multiplayer for this game, you can't actually do that more or less because, like, you know, it stops the game for everyone else, but in being a single player like this, I can do that. Looks like these guys got pocketed, that's interesting. By the way, I'll note that as service game, Italy's at war with Ethiopia. It's not really anything special. Usually Italy annexes them, you know, right away. So basically Ethiopia has got, you know, eaten up by Italy there. Really to start a game, the real action is going to be over here with, like, Spain. Right now it looks like the Nationalists are doing quite well for the most part. If they can hold on to this city down here and possibly get the Madrid, they'll basically win for sure. Basically, how this works, if the Spanish lose Madrid, they lose, like, you know, the Nationalists take over. And if, like, you know, the Nationalists, like, you know, lose, like, their cities down here, and, like, the one over here, they basically lose, like, everything else. We're going to get the silent workhorse over here from our political game for now. And you can just join his army over here. Think about it, you guys can start training up so we can basically get these guys up to be, like, you know, regular, because training really sucks for these guys right now. I'll note that in this game there's, like, ranks for, like, guys. You basically have green, trained, regular, veteran, or seasoned, I guess. These guys right now, they're just trained, so they don't have, like, anything, you know, they're basically, they don't know how to handle a gun, that's about it. But they could be a little bit better than what they are. Who will win? It looks like the Nationalists might win. I'll note if I want to go to current wars here, basically see what's going on. So, Spanish Civil War is currently the only war. Basically, right now, the Republicans basically have lost like 11% of their territory, and they're basically 91%. You know, they have 91% of the victory points, and they'll basically completely when they have 20% or less. Nationalists over here basically lost a little bit. They basically 15% toward capitulation. They control 89%. The Republicans apparently they currently have more brigades apparently, but they have less industry, while the Nationalists basically have more industry but less brigades. These guys have had more casualties, while these guys have less. Really, it could go either way right now. We'll basically see what happens. That's construction 1 done. That's cool. Let's go over here and get ourselves artillery produced, maybe. Yeah, we'll get artillery right now. Doing quite well, these guys. Very nice to Madrid right there. If they take Madrid, then the Republicans lose for sure. Because that's basically like their main city right there, and that's where all their factories and stuff are at. Not to mention, it's basically a big, like, you know, free victory point for, like, you know, the Nationalists to take away from them. Like, basically, there's, like, victory points for, like, the Nationalists all over the place, but they're not worth a whole lot of these places, to be honest. Well, the problem is basically all their victory points are there in Madrid. Let's get that. Gotta love the music in this game. Really great music, this game's music and such. Alright, the games of the 11th Olympiad. The 11th Olympic Games were recently held in Berlin, Germany. Attended by athletes from 49 different nations across the world, the 1936 Summer Olympics are the first in history to have enjoyed limited live television coverage. The Games were a significant propaganda event, a victory for the German regime, which spent lavishly on the event. German athletes saw the most success, winning 33 gold medals, while the Americans came in second with 24. 4 of these were won by Jesse Owens, the single most successful athlete in the Games. The Games are concluded. And yeah, it'll be like this little blips of history and stuff popping in this game, because this is basically based on historical, references and such, this game. Heck, this, war right here is basically based on, historical references and such. Looks like the Nationalists are going to win this by the looks of it, because they're taking territory from the Republicans left and right. But it's still too close to call to see who's going to win. Now this war, sometimes it can last for a long time. I've seen it last all the way up to the start of World War II, for example. But, in our situations, it's going to be very quick, and this one looks like it's going to be a very quick war for the looks of it. Because they're basically already on the gates of Major and the Nationalists are. And we are about ready to get ourselves and our government policy done. I'm going to be able to possibly get civilian economic trade, or not, we'll probably get export focus here, change to be free trade focus. So I'm basically get myself more research basically going, because, basically in this game, I only have two, very limited research slots at the start of Honduras. So I basically want to maximize my research right away, is help out with that, right away. So we'll get that done. These guys will all become regulars, which is cool, but let's just try and get ourselves up to be, a little bit more experienced than what we have right now. And cool, we have a little blip for, fascist government popping up. An aggressively nationalist sentiment has grown in Honduras, giving rise to several parties promoting fascist ideals. A strong state enforcing its power through military force. One of these in particular has won favor in the current election, leading to discussions with the PLH party about whether or not we should try to cooperate with them in forming our government. While they openly reject the democratic ideals that are in the foundations of our state, the fact that they choose to participate in the election itself lends some credibility to our views, and acknowledging their public support may keep them away from taking violent action. So this is basically the options that basically pops up in this game. I have a choice here to basically say rather than in the comments, basically increase my fascist support by 10%, which I'll do. But I could also go a broader coalition of Democratic parties is preferable to basically, increase my Democratic support if I want to. But let's just do this right now. Poof. We're basically 31% toward the 50% I need to basically get, a fascist state in here, so it's cool. And these guys are slowly battling it on. Alright, we're just going to stop this right now. I was letting these guys exercise basically get my army experience up to 5, so I can basically get myself, a change in my this setup here. I'm going to basically add artillery when we get the chance in here. It'll be a while before I actually have artillery, but, it's good to get, done the setup for it. Alright, so fascist is self-defense form. The political and martial have always been intertwined in fascism. In parallel with its growing political movement, fascist parties have begun to form paramilitary organizations to protest against both internal and external threats. The internal threats being the political opponents. Although many people find this development worrying, the wave of militaristic fear has led to increasing amount of volunteers joining our armed forces. The political leaders of the movement have pointed out that their opponents have reasons to be afraid. Having the army permeated on several levels by so explicitly political elements, the enemies of Honduras and enemies of fascism have begun to look much alike. Only traitors in the country have anything to fear. So basically increase our stability, or decrease it rather, by 5%, but at the same time basically get more fascist population support going right away, which is cool. And cool, also to artillery, awesome. Mechanical computing is done, great. So let's go in here, we're going to edit our forces to include an artillery right away, so infantry and artillery. That'll basically get ourselves an artillery piece eventually when I get a chance for it, so we'll save that. Now I don't have the equipment for it right away, but we'll have it when when we get the chance for it. At this point, let's research superior firepower, I guess. And let's get ourselves basic weapons 1, I think, at this point as well. Both important to get right away. Those other problems are slowly pushing. Oh, look at that, they lost Madrid. So that should be it for the equivalence at this point, because once they basically lose that, it's very much basically in the nationalist favor. I don't know why there's such a big disparity right there. Basically, you can see these guys have got 54 70, but these guys are probably 36 to 84. But whatever. These guys are basically very close to capitulation now because they lost Madrid. Losing Madrid is a big blow to them because they'll lose a significant portion of their factories and stuff. Though if they take it back, they still have a chance. They probably won't take it back though. There's infrastructure done. Awesome. We can basically get down to infrastructure 2. If they close the gap here, by the way, they can pocket these guys. Basically, what pocketing means in this game, if you although in this game, by the way, there's a small section where these are connected to each other. But if they take out one of these places, the nationalists, they'll basically pocket these guys in a closed loop. Basically, whenever it's states that basically have no access to the outside, they don't have any supplies, and as a result, troops in here will starve of resources. So that's something they could do. And over here, for example, these guys don't have any resources, so basically the troops that are stuck in there will get killed off very easily. And if they could do that to here, they could kill off the troops in here as well. The nationalists could to the Republicans. Could be interesting to see that happen or not. And there they go. These guys are now trapped, and eventually what should happen is that these guys will kill off. And they'll lose a significant portion of the troops in there. Basically to cut off these guys is what's happening. Alright, now at this point we're currently at 40% fascism. I'm actually very tempted to open up political discourse because they're very, very close to basically turning into a fascist state. So I think I'll do that right now. With any luck, I'll get a few more pop-ups for basically turn us into a fascist state right away, so that'll be happening pretty quickly and nicely. They're going to push back over here to nationalists, but they're doing quite well taking out these guys over here. So that should help them out a lot. Some of these guys broke out, but these guys aren't over here, I don't think. Yeah, they're dead. Let's get ourselves our first extra research slot researched over here. Or basically acquired. These guys get pocketed, that sucks for them. These guys are down to basically 30 to 62 grenades, while these guys are at the 33 to 79. Look at the casualties on these guys, though. 250 have almost died here, 250 almost died there. It's a very tight conflict these guys are basically having. You know, this could actually go either way, but I think it is in the Nationalists' favor because they got Madrid already. And basically in a long, term lore, that's like all their factories that the Republicans have right there in Madrid. Okay, let's go over here. We'll get ourselves Construction 2 going. And we'll get the basic machine tools going. Let's get Weapons 1 going. I don't have any, thing for it, but we'll basically get towed artillery basically reduced. I'm still a little bit away from this, so, I can afford to wait a little bit for political power, so I guess I might do that for now. What I might do at this point is I might discredit the government once, just so I can, get myself into, the 50% range, but we're going to hold off just because, I can still use, this, extra political power to declare war on people when I get to, actually turn into, a fascist state. Now, if these guys get cut off over here, that'd be very interesting because their capital's down here in Nationalists. They do have, harvest up here, so they won't get pocketed, because even if, they split them in two, basically they can, go around, on the waters, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Here's my extra research slot. Let's use this to research delay, I think, from the land doctrines. Get those up right away. And let's start getting ourselves some armor effort going on for, stuff. Would be nice if I get a 5% to pop for that, but it might not happen. We'll basically see what happens for it. The Hindenburg disaster. Now, note, by the way, this Hindenburg disaster here, this is one of the examples of an alternative event that can happen in this game. Sometimes we'll have the Hindenburg survive, it's a disaster. Sometimes it won't. But anyways, the German passenger airship Hindenburg was destroyed today while attempting to dock at the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in the United States. For reasons not yet determined, the airship was engulfed in flames and crashed to the ground, claiming 35 lives. Due to the scarcity and expense of helium and the U.S. ban on exporting it, the Hindenburg, like all German passenger airships, was ultimately engineered to use hydrogen, which provides greater lift, but is also flammable. With public faith shaken by this disaster and the rise of much faster passenger aircraft, this could spell the end of the era. This could spell the end of the era of airships. Oh, humanity! Looks like the Nationalists are trying to kick ass over here. They pocket another group of guys. And then they free themselves, the Republicans there. And then they got pocketed again. And this would be a pocket down here, but because, basically they got, a port, the Republicans can hold on for a little bit there. And I get pocket these guys up here. That'd be interesting. This is a very close battle, to be sure. And this game very, very close. What to do, what to do. Let's get support equipment at this point for research, I think. I think at this point, by the way, what I might want to do We're going to get ourselves limited constriction going on right now because I want to basically get my, like, population pool going up for, like, recruitable stuff right away. I'm basically going to hold off basically on, like, discarding my government because, we're so close at this point. I feel it'd be a waste, so we're just going to build up our troops instead because that's always good to do, I guess. They're battling for Madrid again over here. Alright, here's another alternate event that could happen. I believe in history, Amelia here actually failed to circumnavigate the globe. Basically, she died somewhere in the Pacific, but basically, sometimes you'll have her like successfully circumnavigate the globe. So, the famous aviator Amelia Earhart, known to many as the Queen of the Air, has completed a flight around the world together with her navigator Fred Newman. After a brief scare with the pair temporarily got lost while approaching Hollywood Island in the Pacific, the flight proceeded without incident, and this morning their Lockheed Electra touched down in Oakland, California. A ceremony is to be held in the White House next week, where Earhart is to be personally congratulated for her feat by the president. So I'm not bothered if this happens. I believe that like the Americans actually get her as like a possible person they can like elect in their government, but whatever. Quite an achievement. And this battle just rages on over here. And God, look at those casualties. They're almost up to 300k now, these guys. This is actually a very easily matched, war, to be honest. Alright, leadership purchase in the Soviet Union. Uncertainty has long reigned in the Soviet Union. While details are scarce, there have been series of secret trials on the highest level, and both generals and ministers have disappeared from the public eye. The natural assumption is that some great conspiracy is being uncovered within the Communist Party, but no official statement has been made. In addition, the diplomatic reports we have access to indicate evidence presented at the trials have been far from indisputable. Whatever has been happening, the structures of Soviet High Command has changed irrevocably. Now, this is actually something that always happens. Basically, these guys have like a focus they can take, which basically purchase like elements of like stuff from their government. So that happened, and apparently had Japan declaring war on Shanix. I want to go in here and get the trade going. I'll note by the way because I got this now being produced. Basically got like a second war factory from our focus, so now we're producing artillery. I just want to make sure we basically have a little our steel basically covered here. So I'm just going to go over here and go to States and say, give me some steel. Basically, for those who don't know, in this game you can use civilian factories to trade for resources. So basically, going to use one of our civilian factories that we use to produce this civilian factory we're producing right now. So basically start producing steel and such over here. And I'll note by the way over here, these guys are declaring war on each other, so there's going to be some events popping up. Japan declared war in China. Alright, let's read some of this stuff here. So, earlier today, China and Guangxi Click issued a joint statement that the latter has now been formally granted membership status of the Chinese United Front. Whether this partnership will be used for offensive and defensive purposes remains to be seen, but undoubtedly, extensive joint military planning is already underway. The war escalates. So what's happening over here? The Chinese United Front forms. Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong, who are basically the leader of China and Communist China respectively, have issued a joint announcement declaring that they have set aside their differences in face of Japanese attack. Both sides will observe a strict policy of non-aggression against each other for as long as the war against Japan lasts, and have vowed to do everything in their power to overthrow the back invader. A number of smaller warlords have also declared their support, putting their forces under the command of Chiang Kai-shek. Whether the long-time enemies of the Chinese Civil War will actually work together remains to be seen, and many expect experts believe this will do little more than delay the inevitable defeat of China and a stable alliance. So for those who don't know, back in the 1936, basically there's a war raging on between Communist China and China. Basically there's the Communist China up here and China down here, and they're basically going at war with each other. But what basically happens is, Japan basically has their ambitions set on China, and what's going on here is that they're actually trying to invade these guys over here. And we basically see a little bit of Japan, like, going right now. And, basically there's a big war going on now between, like, all of, like, China over here and Japan over here. So basically this guy's involved in the war. Or he will be eventually. He'll join the China's faction at some point. And all these other guys basically, like, in the Chinese United faction, basically over here. So that'll be interesting to watch. The war begins. And there's the Marco Polo Bridge incident. So Japanese and Chinese forces skirmished inclusively over the strategic Marco Polo Bridge, located southwest of Beijing. China has rejected Japan's demand for apology and territorial concessions, claiming instead that this is the breaking point of Japanese aggression having been reached. Diplomatic fears that the volatile situation could result in war at any time. So interesting times indeed. So basically, this is like sets off a war between these guys. Sometimes like the Chinese will give in and like will basically stop the war from happening, but in this case they didn't. So we're basically gonna have these guys fighting each other right now. And I'm getting closer and closer to that 50%, but we're not yet there. Now note by the way that Japan basically has like, this place here, Mexico, as like a pawn of them, I guess we'll basically say. And there's also another guy right here who's also a pawn of Japan. They're basically part of the Greater Eastern Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere, which is basically a faction for Japan. Although in this game, basically there's different factions you basically have. So, right now it's basically a faction war against a faction war over here. Where basically like the Chinese United Front are against the Greater Eastern Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Now let's do this right now. So I know in diplomacy, if you go to it right here, here we go. So basically in the country list here, there's basically like all these like factions in the world. Basically got like the Axis faction, which is basically like the German Reich. There's the Allied faction, which is basically all of like United Kingdom. It's like little like territories and such. There's also of course like fascists, which are basically all the fascist countries, which will include us in a bit. There's communist factions, democratic factions, and all sort of stuff. Basically, right now is the Great Eastern Coalition, which is basically Japan. These guys are over here, basically, and they're going to be fighting against the Chinese over there. So basically, there's like the Chinese faction right now, and eventually I'll include like Sichuan over there, and probably Tibet, and they're basically going against like Japan over here. So it'll be interesting to see how that basically goes. And what's going on over here? These guys are still fighting quite fiercely. They're still in control of Seville, these guys. Okay, there's like them joining. That's, I know it's going to happen eventually. This war is going on quite well, I have to say. This is possibly a war that could like go on right up to World War II, for example, but it doesn't usually go this long, to be honest. It usually lasts like a year or two, this war. So I'm actually quite impressed that it's still going on right now. Let's get this going. I'm still a little bit off from 50% with this guy, so we're waiting a little bit for that. But this should like throw us over. So, fascist influenced foreign policy. Accepting fascists into our political coalition has had an impact on our foreign policy. Despite their vehement nationalism, they have friends abroad who approve of this influence they've been given in Honduras. Totalitarian governments of similar ideological leanings see us as potential allies. Maintaining ties to those nations, no matter the states the PLH may have for their ideals, may be necessary to retain the support of the fascist backings of our government. So this is going to basically push us over 50%. And it's also going to increase our opinion for the German Reich, which is very interesting. So basically we'll have like, people liking us over here in German. So these guys are going to like us a little bit more. If I go over here and basically see like, German opinion of Honduras, basically fascists in government, we basically have like, increase of like, opinion of these guys as a result. We don't like them though because of different ideology and they're also during world tension, but whatever. Alright, so that's basically been done. Let's go over here. I'll note, by the way, that we basically now have 50% fascist system support, and basically in this game, what happens if you have like 50% like, you know, of support like a different ideology than what your own is right now. Basically right now they're democratic, but we have less than like, you know, 50% for democratic ideals at this point. We're now more for fascists. We're just going to go in here to, this isn't available, we're going to hold a national referendum. This will basically change ourselves to fascists, so fascists demand referendum. The rapidly growing Honduran fascist movement has never claimed that they need majority support before it seizes power, counting on a united nation under their leadership once their rule is established. However, it seems their public support has grown rapidly. Many fascists are now calling Tavares, but you know, the leader of our nation, a hypocrite, claiming to represent the wishes of the people while turning a deaf ear to the masses who want to see Honduras on its path to greatness. The call for referendum has been dismissed as typical attempts at disrupting the system by PLH numbers so far, but at least it's a political measure. If we do not act now, the fascists may choose a violent struggle as a better path to power. So basically, if people want it, we'll hold a referendum. This will basically change us to be like, you know, fascist, but, you know, it'll reduce our stability by 5% as a result, but which sucks, but whatever. So we're going to lose some, like, you know, stability from this, but whatever. We're now going to be a different nation. Specifically, we're going to be Corporate Honduras. This is our new nation. Here's our leader, Sebastian Escalon. And, cool, we're now a fascist nation. Now, I want to go to war against, like, my neighbors at some point. I think I may want to go to war in Nicaragua right away, but we're going to wait a little bit, I think, for that. We're going to gain a little bit more political power before we go to war on this guy, because I want to basically go to war against Costa Rica as well, so we'll wait a little bit for it. You know what, let's just train ourselves in our brigade here. There. So we're going to train our brigade. We'll need some artillery for it, but whatever, we'll basically get that soon. We'll finish this up pretty quickly, I think. Let's get ourselves some support equipment made right there. And let's go for... I like to get recon company at the start, but maintenance company might be better to get right now, so we're going to keep our artillery, you know, basically going. Basically, this will let me, like, you know, make my, like, you know, my reliability a little higher, so basically we don't, like, lose our stuff as much. We'll get this, I think, for artillery. And I think I'm enough to do this right now. We're just going to justify a war goal against Nicaragua here. This will basically take us 46 political power and take, like, you know, almost a year to basically do, but we're basically going to start justifying a war goal to basically go after these guys. And we're going to go after Costa Rica as well, so we're going to justify a war against them. Now, because we're going to justify San Guy, will basically be a little bit more power, you know, costly to basically get this, as well as, like, you know, longer to do, but I think it'll be worth it to do it, so let's do against them both right now. And you know what? This is actually getting to the point where I think we're done for our first episode. The Spanish over here are still fighting, you know, vehemently against each other. The Japanese have started to invade the, like, you know, Chinese over here. There's a land invasion going on right there, apparently. Yeah, it remains to be seen what happens, but for now, let's take care for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys next time.